Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Monday evening. Thank you for your company. Our top story. The shocking scenes at Manchester Airport, where two brothers are on trial accused of assaulting police officers. One officer told the court that the punches were some of the hardest he had ever felt. Also tonight, Gabriel's dad asks Parliament for higher roof barriers around car parks after his son fell to his death.
The parking industry knows it has a long-standing problem with these structures in terms of people either accidentally falling or choosing to suicide from.
We'll hear from two elite athletes living with hidden disabilities on some people's lack of understanding.
You tell them, I am a Paralympian, and the first thing they do is look you up and down and try to find your disability.
You know what I'm on about. The countdown is nearly done to the biggest rock and roll homecoming in a generation.
And what a fabulous photograph to start the working week off with. Now, it's been bright and breezy today, some showers around this evening. How are we doing for the rest of the week? Heat's rising. Join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
The trial of two brothers who are accused of assaulting police officers at Manchester Airport last summer has heard that the punches landed on one of them were some of the hardest he'd ever felt. Mohammed Amaz and Mohammed Ahmad both say that they were acting in self-defence. Well, today the jury was shown video footage of the incident from multiple angles, including the point where one of the brothers was kicked in the face. You may find some parts of Phil McCann's report upsetting.
Three police officers walked towards the entrance of one of the car parks at Manchester Airport to arrest a man. The officer in charge said in court today they had a plan. To first walk the man in blue here to somewhere less crowded by taking immediate control. This was the camera being worn by the armed officer in charge, PC Zachary Marsden. He said the punches that landed on him were some of the hardest he'd ever felt. They'd been called to reports of a fight nearby and told to look for a man in a blue tracksuit. That man was Mohammed Amaz. When they tried to arrest him, his brother, Mohammed Ahmad, intervened. The prosecution told their trial today that he landed 6 punches on officers, while Mr Amaz himself landed 10. The officers were also kicked and hit with elbows, they said. Another armed officer, PC Cook, then used her taser on Mr Amaz, who went down. He lifted his head, and PC Marsden can be seen to kick Mr Amaz while he's on the ground. The officer said he didn't realise Mr Amaz had been tasered at this point. He said he used the soft, laced part of his boot to try and stun Mr Amaz and gain control. He then stamped his foot, but he said it didn't connect with Mr Amaz's head and wasn't aimed at it. He said it was to secure the swinging wire for one of his radios. Paul Greeney, KC, for the prosecution, asked PC Marsden what he would say to suggestions that the kick to Mr Amaz's head was in retaliation. PC Marsden said he would strongly dispute that and would disagree. As to whether it was anger or a loss of temper, he said that would be false. I don't believe I lost my temper or was angry, he said. He said he firmly believed that when Mr Amaz was lifting his head, he was trying to get back up and attack again. Meanwhile, nearby, officers had been summoned by the emergency button on PC Marsden's radio. When this officer responded, Mr Amaz's brother, Mohammed Ahmad, was being restrained.
Put your down there. You move, I'll smash your face, do you understand?
Later, the third of the 3 officers who initially responded, who was unarmed, could be heard in distress with a bleeding nose. She was led away by colleagues. Some onlookers were then arrested. The court was told one had been obstructive with his phone. Another tried to stop his arrest. Parva spray was used. PC Marsden said no members of the public there had tried to help, leading him to think the crowd was hostile and that the police weren't welcome there. Mr Ahmad and Mr Amaz deny assault. They say they were acting in self-defence. The trial continues tomorrow. Phil McCann, BBC North West Tonight, Liverpool Crown Court.
Now, part of the M60 motorway has been closed in both directions near Stockport in Greater Manchester after an 8-vehicle pile-up. Officers were called to reports of a crash involving 3 lorries, 2 cars and a van at around 11:30 this morning. National Highways says that the closures will remain in place for some time because of the amount of damage. More than £10,000 has been raised to help the family of a 4-year-old boy who died when a gravestone fell on him in Lancashire. A fundraiser was set up to help pay for the funeral of Eli, who died at Rawtenstall Cemetery on Saturday. His death has been described as a freak accident. A body has been pulled from the Rochdale Canal in Manchester. Police search teams found the man, who's yet to be identified, last night in Miles Platting. His death is not currently being treated as suspicious. Now, in October 2020, Gabriel Santa fell from a car park roof where he'd been meeting friends in Liverpool. His inquest recorded an open verdict. It was impossible to know why Gabe fell. The regulation height barrier around the top of the car park was just over a metre. And ever since, the 15-year-old's family has been campaigning to increase that in all car parks to avoid accidental falls or deliberate suicides. Today, they met a government minister, asked Gabe's dad how it went.
To be honest with you, I don't think it could have gone better today. We were met by the minister, who listened intently to everything that we had to say. The contents of the multi-storey car park safety bill, to be known as Gabe's Law, is a very practical piece of suicide prevention strategy. Okay, the parking industry knows it has a long-standing problem with these structures in terms of people either accidentally falling or choosing to suicide from.
Are the parking industry sympathetic to what you're saying, or is it a case that they're going to have to be dragged kicking and screaming to do this?
Look, the British Parking Association produces some really good guidelines about suicide prevention strategy, but it doesn't enforce it.
I suppose it all comes down to money, doesn't it? And to retrofit car parks would cost a lot of money, whereas obviously new ones, it's easier to enforce.
No, I completely disagree with that. And you've got to remember that these parking operators are extracting huge amounts of wealth from our communities, and yet they are negatively impacting them by allowing these preventable deaths to happen, as has been witnessed in my community at least 6 times since Gabriel has died.
So this legislation, should it come to pass, will compel car parks to make them all safe up to a certain standard. What's the timescale now, do you think, Johnny?
I think the timescale is now. You know, it's very difficult for backbenchers and private members' bills to become enshrined in law. I'm hoping that after our very successful meeting this morning with the Minister Alex Norris, that the government actually takes it upon itself to view Gabe's Law and our multi-storey car park safety bill for what it actually is, which is a very practical piece of suicide prevention policy that can be implemented if the government sees fit very, very quickly, and it will save lives. That is incontrovertible, and making sure that these preventable deaths don't happen again in the future, that's what this is all about.
Johnny Santa, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll continue to follow the campaign for Gabe's Law. Now, work to demolish Blackpool's former Bonny Street police station began today. The former Magistrates Court and Chapel Street car park are also being cleared. Bonny Street police station has been empty since 2018, following construction of a new headquarters on Clifton Road in Marton. The empty building had become a target for vandals and urban explorers. The Chancellor has announced plans to invest over £28 million into a major carbon capture project in the Peak District. It will pipe emissions from cement and lime plants for storage beneath the Irish Sea. The scheme's also been backed by private funding and aims to modernise heavy industry, to boost clean energy and create thousands of jobs. And hundreds of people on the Isle of Man have been celebrating Tynwald Day, watching the ancient open-air ceremony on Tynwald Hill in St John's. Politicians, clergy, judges and other dignitaries take part, and the ceremony also sees the island's newest laws being read out in English and Manx.
The heart of the ceremony is the same as it was when the Vikings were running it, and it does have everything that the nods back, like the proclamation of the Acts on the hill, all the way through to the modern day, people presenting their petitions with the very latest up-to-date issues that are affecting our island. So we do have that full span of history represented, and it's just so wonderful to be a part of it.
Now, here are some of the other stories online that people are reading from BBC News tonight. And Burnley College has been criticised by the education watchdog Ofsted for inflating students' grades. Its principal has resigned. A Peak District man has been explaining why he kicks over the piles of stones which walkers create beside paths. His name's Stuart Cox. He says he does it because people often take the rocks from dry stone walls. And a set of 6 stamps celebrating the Isle of Man's farming heritage is being issued by the island's post office. They've been designed by a local artist and will be out later this month. Those stories and many more at bbc.co.uk/local news, or of course, as always, you can read them on the BBC News app. Right, next to the latest in our series, speaking to people who live with disabilities which others cannot see, something we started if you were watching last week. That can lead to prejudice, to misunderstanding and to a lack of support. Well, I've been to meet 2 elite athletes. Coincidentally, they are both cyclists and, although they've never met, they've got plenty in common.
Sort of grown up around cycling. In lockdown, I discovered my true love for it, because it's like empty roads and no school, so I basically rode my bike every day for a year.
Many keen cyclists will know this hill. Just outside Bollington, on the edge of the Peak District, it takes its name from the brickworks halfway up it. It's also a popular training route for Britain's elite riders, based at the Velodrome in Manchester. Archie Atkinson, a Paralympic world champion, is a regular visitor.
The Paralympics is a whole manner of disabilities. It's pretty cool.
Archie has cerebral palsy, which affects his coordination and balance, as well as autism and ADHD. He struggled at school, finding fitting in and making friends tough.
I was bullied pretty much for 4 years during my high school. Kids are cruel. I used to do para-football for quite a while, and they found out where I trained. They'd film it, post it on social media, use sort of disabled slurs under some stuff, which is not very nice.
That's an experience echoed by another cyclist. Kira Byland only felt safe from the school bullies, hiding in a toilet cubicle. A decade on, she has 5 world championships. Having won 6 Special Olympics gold medals, she serves on its International Board of Directors, which last Christmas took her to the White House.
Sport has been a lifeline that has helped me to be able to accept who I am and make me happy of who I am, but also connect with other people as well. I have grown as a person, picking up lifelong skills.
We've featured 27-year-old Kira many times. She has autism, a learning disability, and lives with a genetic disorder. All things you cannot see.
People expect things now. If they ask you a question, it's now. And sometimes it will take me time to actually think about what you've asked. Having diagnosis and labels sometimes is difficult because people only see the labels on the paper. They don't see you as a person, but they help because it means people take a step back. They slow things down.
I was at an event last week in America, and you tell them I am a Paralympian, and the first thing they do is look you up and down and try to find disability. It's I can understand it, because I don't look disabled from the outside. But it's quite hurtful. It's like you're questioning, is that person disabled?
At 16, a teacher told Archie he should quit cycling as he'd never amount to anything, dismissing his dream as worthless. Instead, with his parents' backing, he quit college.
Less than a year later, I won my first World Championships and sent her a nice email, but I'm still waiting a response.
I always say, I like to be the person that I wish I had when I was younger. If you're in a dark place right now in school and you're struggling with academics, there is a different way. Life doesn't have to be in one direction. You can make your own path and thrive. and survive in many ways.
It was really lovely to chat to Ciara and to Archie. Wish them all the best, and we'll have more in our series on hidden disabilities on tomorrow evening's programme. We'll continue with the sporting theme now, though. Ian is here. Proof, I guess, that life, sporting-wise, does not stop at 40, because Ricky Hatton's going to have a comeback of the boxing legend at the age of 46?
46. We're all waiting with a shout now, aren't we, Roger? I tell you, yeah. 13 years after his last professional fight, Hatton is back. Rocky Balboa did similar in the movies. So why not the Hitman? Well, the multiple world champion will fight fellow 46-year-old Isa Eldar of the United Arab Emirates in a middleweight bout in Dubai on December the 2nd. Organisers say it will be a professional bout, though it's unclear whether it will be fully sanctioned or if it will have shorter or fewer rounds.
I will do my best, because everybody in United Arab Emirates and the Gulf, they will watch this as a fight. I'm sure 100%.
I'm very much looking forward to it myself, to be honest with you. There's lots of British fight fans over there in Dubai, expats and everything like that. There's a market for it, and I think it will be a sensational evening.
Could be. Let's now look at two Northwest fighters hoping to become world champions themselves. Chorley's Jack Catterall outpointed Harlem Eubank by technical decision in a one-sided contest at Manchester's AO Arena on Saturday. An accidental clash of heads led to the fight's premature end, but it puts Catterall back in world title contention. Meanwhile, Manchester cruiserweight Pat Brown made it 3 wins from 3 professional fights, with a first-round stoppage of Lewis Oakford. On Friday, we were at Morecambe FC after owner Jason Whittingham said a takeover by the investment company Punjab Warriors would go ahead today. As yet, the only word we've had from the club has been a statement from Whittingham alleging a campaign of abuse against him and his family on social media. He says those involved are responsible for putting off at least 2 potential buyers. Super League, and Lee beat Wigan and Warrington beat Salford at the start of the weekend, while on Saturday 2 tries from winger Carl Felt helped St Helens to a hard-fought 13-6 win at Hull FC. Liverpool's Neil Skupski's bid for a second Wimbledon men's doubles title is back on track. He and partner Joe Salisbury, who were seeded 6th, beat the 12th seeds Maximo Gonzalez and Andres Molteni by 2-1 after a dramatic tiebreak there. They're now into the quarter-finals. Well, let's talk women's cricket now, and it's very much on the up. And as further proof, Emirates Old Trafford is preparing to host a record crowd at Wednesday's T20 series match between England and India. England's women haven't played at Old Trafford since way back in 2012, but close to 10,000 tickets have already been sold for their long-awaited return. Friday night and victory for England's women.
Pace off, straight to Sophie Eccleston. England are back in the series.
That catch by Lancashire Thunder's Sophie Eccleston sealed a win by 5 runs, meaning it's now 2-1 to India in the series ahead of Emirates Old Trafford.
I'm sure that ticket sales won't be harmed by the fact that you are still very much in this series.
Yeah, I think it was a very dramatic game. You know, I think we were all loving life at the end of the game when we came off winning there, and keeping the series alive I think is key. You know, I think people want to see that drama, that excitement. Coming here kind of 2-1 and still in the series I think was key, and certainly hope that it gives the fans and supporters something to want to come and shout about.
And there'll be plenty there, with the Northern Ground's attendance record set to be broken.
We're around 9,000. We're just over 100 away from the record, so we're going for that. The power of the North's fantastic, and I think to get that attendance record, apart from getting one over Yorkshire, which we always like doing anyway.
Why has it taken so long for a women's international cricket game to come back here?
Elite women's cricket has really taken off in the last 2 or 3 years, really. And so I think it's just taken a little bit of a while for the audience to catch up with the quality of the sport.
It follows a great weekend for Lancashire Thunder, who had back-to-back wins in the Women's Vitality Blast.
Taken. This is really important to us, and the journey we've been on with Lancashire Thunder, we've now got more professional women players here than any other team in the country.
Lancashire are victorious.
And so hosting international women's sport here is just the logical next step.
Conditions are looking good for Wednesday's match.
The weather looks decent as well for the rest of the week, so it's going to be on, that's for sure, and that's the first relief with any sport like cricket, isn't it? Just get the game on, really.
Yeah, I think there's two grounds you always check the weather forecast. That's Manchester and Cardiff. So good news that the weather's looking good, and getting to play at these grounds is a real honour and something that we're really enjoying doing at the moment. I've played here in the 100 a lot, and the support's amazing for the home team. So it'd be nice to be the home team for once.
And hopefully levelling the series.
Let's hope so, yeah. And we just mentioned Neil Skupski there, through in the men's doubles at Wimbledon, but he's just been knocked out of the mixed doubles, unfortunately.
That's just a shame. We're going to talk... here we go. Can't not, can we, really?
Exactly.
I mean, the hype around it, the excitement around it has been something else that's been going on for months, hasn't it? It started in Cardiff on Friday, but there is no doubt the most anticipated Oasis reunion gigs will, of course, be in their home city, and the band plays the first of its gigs in Manchester on Friday.
It's been billed as the biggest rock and roll reunion in a generation. The Gallagher brothers will take to the stage at Heaton Park 15 years after the band split up, as Molly Brewer's been finding out.
The hype is about to become reality. The boys from Burnage back on stage together in Manchester for the first time in 16 years. But let's return to where it all began, shall we?
There's never been a band this big that split up and got back together again. Simple as that. It's never happened. And it'll be absolutely astounding. Anything they released in the 90s, I did the artwork for. Definitely maybe Morning Glory, Be Here Now, and all the singles that came off of it. So all the classics, Live Forever, Don't Look Back in Anger, some might say. It's the project of my life, isn't it, really? I mean, it always will be. It doesn't matter what comes next, it'll never be eclipsed. It's Oasis mania again. So this is Bonehead's fireplace, because this is shot in Bonehead's house. And when he lent us that, he said, you can give it a lick of paint if you want. And I think, oh, that's, I mean, look, it's actually wine spilt down it. So it's all original. It's exactly as it was on the sleeve 30 years ago.
And do you get people coming in here and just lying down?
All the time.
I'd be so tempted.
Literally all the time.
And whilst we're on a trip down memory lane, it's worth taking a stop here. This is the boardwalk where Liam and Noel used to rehearse in the early days. Next door was music journalist John Robb and his band.
Their room was there.
Just there, that's where they rehearsed. And you were just down there where the brick wall is?
we were there, the next room along. You would go in and you'd be rehearsing, and they'd rehearse the same riff for like hours on end just to get it right. I mean, they really worked at it, they were grafters. There's a tabloid version of Noel and Liam, which is like these two guys who just fight all the time and had a few hit records. But what I did in the book, I thought the rest of the iceberg is far more interesting. They're really funny, really smart, and they know what they're doing as well. And one of the few bands I've ever met, and Noel Gallagher especially, actually had a vision and an idea and made it all work.
And that they did. 900,000 tickets sold for this reunion tour, with millions more wanting them. And what a historic moment for the city where it all started.
Oh, it's massive for the city. Over 340,000 people coming over the course of the weeks that they're playing. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Loads of people thought that they'd never get to see Oasis come back together again. So to have them in Manchester doing precisely that. We know super fans from across the world have been clamouring to get tickets, but also for people. I mean, I'm the local councillor for Burnage in South Manchester. It means a lot to people to see kind of local lads done good.
Anything that's voted for by fans is special. Anything that's voted for by idiots, corporate pigs, means nothing to us.
Some people here are saying you've got an arrogant attitude.
I have, that's what makes Oasis, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
People can go on about the attitude and the look and this and that and the other, but at the end of the day, the songs, you know, you can have all the rest of it, but if you haven't got the songs, it's irrelevant, isn't it? And, you know, Live Forever, Don't Look Back in Anger, these are songs that will stay in people's hearts forever.
Well, if you're lucky enough to have a ticket, I bet you can hardly wait. And if you're not going, or even if you are, to get yourself in the mood for Oasis, there's a new series of podcasts on BBC Sounds. Mad for Oasis has been made by BBC Radio Manchester. There are 10 episodes to listen to altogether on BBC Sounds, and they're presented by someone who really does know what she's talking about.
Welcome to Mad for Oasis. I'm Inez Gallagher, Noel's daughter, Liam's niece. Oasis have always been a part of my life, but in the stories you're about to hear, we uncover how they've changed other people's lives. Hearing people of different ages, from different backgrounds, with different experiences, but each with their own unique Oasis story to tell. From love stories to heartache, from teenage hijinks to family drama, from being young, free and reckless, to getting older and facing life's challenges. These are stories from everyday life, but told by the people themselves, soundtracked by the best in rock and roll. This is not the story of Oasis, it's how the band have impacted, often surprisingly, people's lives.
And you can hear it now on BBC Sounds. Right, shall we have a look at the weather? It's getting warm, Ian.
Oh.
Apparently.
I'll get the factor 50 out.
Well, if you are at Heaton Park, you will need factor 50.
Now, that's something else, isn't it? Because
And a bucket
normally
hat.
it's
Yeah.
you know,
Chucking it
park
down.
life or something, it's tipping it down.
No, bucket hats at the ready and factor 50 and stay hydrated. Temperatures are on the rise. More on that in a minute. Beautiful photographs from today. Paula sent this one and you can see we had quite a keen northwesterly breeze, so the sea crashing in Wallasey. Alison in Lancashire, blue skies, beautiful photos. Thank you for sending those in. A bright and a breezy day today. If you want to join, then you can become a BBC Weather Watcher and let me know what it's like in your part of the world. So, a new week. How are we looking weather-wise? Today, quite breezy. Tomorrow, the winds will ease a little, still be noticeably breezy. We've got some evening showers out and about tonight. They're going to fade away. We're looking at fairly cloudy to start the day on Wednesday. Then it's going to break up. We'll see some spells of sunshine and then the heat rises. We're going to be talking about the Azores high. That is going to be building in from the southwest. It's going to settle things down. It's going to allow temperatures to increase. And it does look like we are going to get a heat wave with temperatures through Friday, Saturday and Sunday getting to 30 degrees in some spots. Back to the here and now. We've got a scattering of showers and they are going to push across all parts. Not everyone will see them. They are showers. Some will avoid them, but where you get them, they could be heavy. They will sink southwards overnight and it'll be a cooler night than it has been lately with temperatures in single figures for many spots. So a fresher feeling start to your day tomorrow morning. Dry and fine, lovely spells of sunshine. Have you noticed a new name on the weather map? Entwistle, Glen, you're welcome. Now, we do start to see cloud increasing on the Isle of Man towards the end of the day. This is a weak warm front. It's not going to do anything for us across most parts, highs of 20 degrees. Now, as we head through the end of the week, you can see the oranges on the map indicating that heat rising. It will be, of course, across more southern parts where we'll have the highest temperatures, but all parts will get hot. Now, Wednesday, that weak warm front introduces a fair amount of low cloud, a little bit of drizzle for some spots. Many of us, though, brightening up with decent spells of sunshine, getting to around 23 degrees. And then, like I said, towards the end of the week, temperatures on the rise. That's your forecast.
So the way to get your place on the weather map is to flatter Kay. What did Glenn call her?
Apparently a guru.
A weather guru.
Thank you, Glenn. 5 is in the press.
Honestly. Flattery will evidently get you everywhere. Thank you for watching. Whatever you're doing, have a great evening. Good night.
Take care.
Weather guru.